everyone! So today we have a drawing that I did pretty much just for the fun of it. If you look at my channel, you'll see I have a lot of foxes and fox-related content. There's something about them that's just really fun to draw for me. I think it might be because I've done enough of them that it's easier than most animals. So it's kind of a fun, casual thing to do on a day when I'm feeling lazy. For this one in particular, I wanted to do a rainbow fox, since I absolutely love rainbows. And I also wanted to make it kind of this slightly wispy, slightly ethereal fox. Not as much as like a star fox, but kind of a similar vibe to something partially galaxy, partially underwater, that kind of feeling. So to start out, I did my outlines, and all of them are a little bit looser than I would normally do, so kind of more the idea of what the fox should be instead of precisely the bend of the legs and all of that. And then once I got the outlines in, I started doing the bottom layer of colors. So this is just a really simple rainbow, and I started with block colors and then blended it all together to kind of get the gradient in there. The issue with blending like this sometimes is that the bits of color aren't underneath your lines, so you kind of get little bits of, well, see-through basically. So for that you have to kind of go through and patch it afterwards, which is what I'm doing here, kind of going through, filling in the bits that are a little bit lighter than I would like them to be, till it's all kind of the right color. After that I went through and started adding in texture. There's a brush in Krita that's supposed to be hair, but kind of looks more like fur to me, so I went through with that and used it to kind of put in little bits of lines for which way the hair is flowing on the tail. And did the same colors I did for the base layer, though it looks a bit different due to opacity. As I got closer to the body, I started doing shorter strokes to make it look kind of more like a pelt and less like the long tail fur, and then filled that in. That also lets me keep the shape of the fox and keep the outlines from getting too blurred by the hair that I'm putting on top. So went through and I did all the colors, and this kind of took a bit longer than I wanted it to, but I think it's worth it in the end, and there is something soothing about just kind of drawing repetitive lines over and over again. It has a very zen feeling, honestly. So I went up to the head and got all the last little bits, and then I spent a bit kind of playing with opacity to figure out how I wanted that to look. After that, I started getting into messing with different textures and all of that. So the first thing I did was put in this kind of splatter. That is one of the brushes I use a lot for doing galaxies, and I like it because it gives this semi-random kind of patterning to a surface. So it just kind of softens edges and also adds like a little bit of sparkle, but a subtle kind of sparkle to things. After I did that, I went through and put in some just plain white star dots using the star field brush, and that again kind of adds an extra layer of sparkle and puts little highlights in, makes things more visible. Went on top of that with some more different sparkles, and for all of these I'm going very dramatic, but then kind of adjusting the opacity down until it's the point where it is sparkly but not obscene. I then took my finished one and blurred it, like made a copy of it and then blurred the copy, and used that underneath to kind of add an extra little bit of waviness to it, which I thought gave it kind of a little bit of... It was originally supposed to be underwater, but it looks more like the Aurora Borealis to me, but I kind of like it anyway, so I ended up keeping it. And then I just threw some background textures on there, kind of like a vague galaxy, and that was that. This one was super fun and relaxing to do, and I hope you enjoyed as much as I did.